Good evening. My name is Eva Levinson, and I'm the president of BHS Civic Leaders Club. We are thrilled to be hosting the first student-led BUSD School Board Candidate Forum. At this time, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters of Berkeley, Albany, and Emeryville for its overall support with Vote 16 and this evening's forum, as well as Mr. V for his commitment towards student voter education and engagement activities. This event, in many ways, marks the historic passage and implementation of Measure Y1, which allows 16 and 17-year-olds to vote for the Berkeley School Board. This election cycle, Berkeley and Oakland are pioneering this effort, making us the first cities in California where teens aged 16 and older can vote. As 16 and 17-year-olds, we have our first opportunity to have our voices, to have a voice in the citywide election. Now that the school board answers to a larger percentage of the students, it's imperative that we become informed voters. Now I'm proud to introduce Zamara Winta-Clark and Jules Jors, who will be moderating this evening's forum. Thank you.
Welcome and thank you all for being with us tonight, October 8th, for the BUSD School Board Candidate Forum. My name is Amara Winta-Clark, your school board student representative.
And I'm Jules Jors, the BHS Civic Leaders Vice President. BHS Civic Leaders is a nonpartisan organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. We do not support or oppose candidates or parties.
I'd like to remind everyone that the candidates have all agreed to participate under ground rules set for this forum. These ground rules are posted both inside and outside of the theater.
Just a quick reminder that candidates and audience members are not permitted to display campaign buttons, t-shirts, signs, etc. inside the auditorium in order to maintain civility and neutrality. We are recording tonight's forum, and the session will be available on our YouTube channel and be shared with Berkeley High Social Studies classes.
There are 5 candidates running for school board director. Could the candidates stand up or raise their hand as we state their names? The candidates are Laura Babitt, Jen Korn, Norma J.F. Harrison, Abdur Sikder, and Anna Vasudeo.
On your ballot, you will be able to choose 2 candidates out of the 5. School board directors are decided through a plurality vote. With a plurality vote, the candidates who receive the highest number of votes will be declared the winner.
As a reminder, the last day to register to vote is October 21st this year. And we have volunteers this evening to help everyone out who is 16 or older to register to vote. There will be other times this month where we will work hard to register all eligible students so we can all have a voice and become voters.
Now let's go over a few ground rules.
Each candidate has 2 minutes for opening remarks. The order was determined by drawing lots. The timekeeper will signal candidates with a paddle when there is 1 minute left. The paddle will be lifted again when there is 15 seconds left. Once the time is up, the moderators will lift up the paddle one final time. If the candidate does not stop, they will be muted or cut off by the moderators.
Please hold your applause for the candidates to the end so each candidate has the full length of time allotted to them to respond to the questions. All questions were submitted by BHS students and community members. They were chosen by the moderators to avoid duplicative questions and reflect the diversity of our student body and their concerns. No candidate has seen them yet. The order of answering the questions will be randomized, and each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each question. Again, the timekeeper will signal candidates when there are 15 seconds left and when their time is up. There will be no separate rebuttals.
However, the candidates may choose to use some of their time or all of their time to refute the response given by another candidate. If candidates finish early, they can yield their time to the chair. Following the questions portion, each candidate shall have 2 minutes for a closing statement.
Oh, sure. Can you take this? Fernando. Now let's begin with our first opening statements. Our first candidate tonight is Laura Babitt.
Does she want to use ours? Oh, perfect.
All right. Good evening, Berkeley High. Thank you all for being here tonight. And how many of you are excited to have your voices heard in this election? Back in 2020, I promised students that if elected, I would make sure that this would happen, and we did it together. I want to honor the students who paved the way for you in this election, because your voices matter, and I'm here to ensure they continue to be heard. When students asked during COVID to be back in person and online learning, we made it happen. In 2021, in-person graduations, check. Your request for gender-neutral bathrooms, check. More STEM and career tech programs, check. Expanded resources like RISE, College Brown, and Bridge, check. Enhanced mental health supports and social emotional counselors and wellness centers, check. Musicals and plays at BHS, check. Initiatives to combat climate change, check. Improved services for English language learners and staff for special education, check. Yes, I've been passionate about public education since my own daughters were in Berkeley schools. And as a committed peer and volunteer, I've been working to make sure that you have what you need, since many of you were in preschool, so that you would have the tools to thrive in today's global economy. With the heart of a mom and the experience of over 30 years of managing million to billion-dollar entities, I'm running for re-election to keep championing your concerns. I am endorsed by Alameda County Supervisor Keith Carson, Mayor Arreguin, the only candidate with a supermajority of the City Council, current and former school board members, the BDC, East Bay Young Democrats, Black Women Organized for Political Action, Moms Against Gun Violence, the Building Trades Unions, and more, which can be found at
The speaker's time has elapsed. The next candidate to be speaking is Jen Korn. Your time starts now.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you so much to the Civic Leaders Club for organizing this amazing event, and to all of you for showing up tonight. I am Jen Korn, and I am proud to be running for Berkeley School Board after dedicating the past 30 years of my life to public education. I've been both a teacher and a principal in Berkeley Public Schools, and I currently work as Director of School Improvement in Open Unified. My many years of experience in education mean that I am uniquely prepared to anticipate how the school board's budget, program, and policy decisions are actually going to play out in your classrooms. I am committed to accelerating the achievement of students of color, students with disabilities, and students who are learning English, and I will work to ensure a culture of belonging in our schools and strong partnerships with families. I am thrilled that 16 and 17-year-olds have the right to vote in this election. I've been working with student interns since the summer. I've had opportunities in recent weeks to meet with both youth in government and students at BTEC. I am consistently impressed by the brilliant questions, the thoughtful concerns, and the good ideas that I hear from students, and I look forward to continuing to listen to and partner with students if elected. I'm endorsed by the Berkeley Democratic Club, the Wellstone Democratic Club, the East Bay Young Democrats, the Cal Berkeley Dems, the Green Party, the local Democratic Party, and many local leaders, including the mayor, 7 members of the City Council, 3 current school board members, and 6 former members of the Berkeley School Board. I have strong support from BUSD teachers and staff with the endorsements at BFT and BUSD. And finally, I'm a lesbian mom. I help to bring family diversity curriculum, Hearty Milk Day, and Pride Month celebrations to our elementary schools. And I would be honored to be a voice on the school board for LGBTQ students and families, filling a void that has existed for the past 4 years. Thank you.
Oh. Our next speaker is Norma J.F. Harrison. Sorry. Your time starts now.
My position is all people who have an issue on the ballot should be able to vote regardless of age, incarceration status, citizenship, and all the other means they have of keeping people off the ballot. If anybody cares, they should be able to express their opinion and understanding of what needs to be tended to. I'm here about integrated living, age integrated, skills integrated, no artificial separation of subject matter, history, art, science, computing, evaluating, estimating, playing, relaxing, living lives instead of being prepared to fit into this brutal, profiteering system. Ending judgment, no grading. If somebody does something where someone says, that's good, very good, that's not grading. If it's good and can use additional input, that's there, around. If someone needs to be told, that's not the way, do it this way, nobody gets a bad grade. Nobody is made to accept a fault. That's good, Joey, Jenny. When child knows, I didn't see that. When child, the child will know when it's unsatisfactory. The community will help resolve that with them and not leave a grade standing in their face.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Abdur Sikder. Your time starts now. Yeah. Yeah.
Good evening. First of all, thanks a lot to organizing this evening, and also audience to make your time to be here. This is very important. And also the people who actually organized and approved that 60 years and 30 years work can for this group. I want to give them big thanks. This is very crucial and important. So, my name is Abdur Sikder, and I'm a lecturer faculty at San Francisco State University. I teach in computer school and also business. And I have a bachelor's, master's, and PhD in computer science, in machine learning, and MBA in finance. So I have a lot of experience and skill in helping the work make right efficiency. And I'm a lecturer faculty representative for computer science department. Here. And I'm a parent. My daughter is actually graduated from UC Berkeley. They're working for the government and for a nonprofit right here. And I'm very concerned about safety and quality of education, because I see when students go to my classroom, I see that not particularly from Berkeley High, but around here. It's actually shock. From that. I don't know why. But that makes me think that I go to do something. So that's what I'm interested in. And in terms of safety, in terms of quality, that Berkeley High ranked 230.
The speaker's time has elapsed. Yeah, your time is finished. The next candidate to speak is Anna Vasudeo. Your time starts now.
Thank you very much, muy buenas noches. Thank you, BHS Civic Leaders, for hosting this important forum today. I almost didn't make it because I broke my foot over the weekend talking to voters about this race, so I'm glad that I was here and I'm able to be here tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vasudeo, and I'm the current school board president. I'm thrilled to be here with you, even with my painful foot, because I'm excited that many of you will exercise one of your most important civic duties this November. I'm honored to seek re-election to serve on the Berkeley School Board with the endorsement of the Berkeley Federation of Teachers, the Berkeley Council of Classified Employees, State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurman, members of our State Council, including our youngest council member, Vasudeo, and my colleagues on the board, Director Chang and Director Shinasi, who are here in the audience tonight. And I'm also very honored to have the support of the Alameda County Democratic Party and many others. During my tenure on the board, I worked hard for our students and students. I established a Berkeley Unified Safety Committee and created the position of a district-wide safety coordinator to keep our schools safe. I directed the hiring of district-wide Spanish language parent engagement specialists to improve engagement with Spanish-speaking families in our districts that we don't compromise the largest minority in the USC. I expanded mental health services for our students, and as board liaison to our ESA committee, I ensured that our tax dollars are spent effectively for our students. As a parent of students with disabilities in my second term, I will focus on expanding support and resources for students with disabilities and uplifting the voices of their families. I come to this work because I love our district, and I believe there's more work to be done to close the opportunity gap for our most vulnerable students. As the only incumbent support for our teachers and the Alameda County Democratic Party, I'd be honored to have your support for the election.
Thank you. Now it is time for candidates to answer questions. So for the following questions, each candidate will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer.
Tonight's first question is, why do you think you would be an essential voice? Why do you think you would be an essential voice on the school board? In addition, what unique qualities and experiences would you bring on the board? We can restate the question for candidates if they want us to. The running order for this question is Abdur Sikder, then Laura Babitt, then Anna Vasudeo, then Jen Korn, and then Norma Harrison. Our first speaker is therefore Abdur Sikder. Your time starts now.
Can you repeat the first part of the question?
Sure. Sorry. Why do you think you would be an essential voice on the school board? In addition, what unique qualities and experiences would you bring to the board? Your time starts now.
Thank you for the question. The quality we need to run the school board, to make policy decisions, that we have the knowledge and experience and expertise. Especially, I have very diverse educational background. I actually went to school in Bangladesh, Singapore, New Zealand, and Australia. So I know how the school system runs there because I went and I worked there too. So I have that strong diverse background and knowledge and expertise to make efficiency. And also I came from very limited resource family that I grew up with. So that makes me very strong to use the resources efficiently and effectively that can be used in this to run a school.
Thank you. The next speaker is Laura Babitt. Are you ready? Your time starts now.
Thank you. I'm uniquely poised because I have a proven track record of advocacy which has changed the scope, direction, and quality of programs implemented within BUSD. I've produced outcomes, not lip service. The current school board has educators, lawyers, professors, and government administrators, but I add the finance expertise that it needs to ensure budget responsibility. I've led million to billion-dollar entities through 2 recessions, making data-driven decisions and creating efficiencies which reduce costs and save jobs. I'm seeking re-election because it takes proven, equity-driven leadership to address BUSD's challenges. I follow the money, ask challenging questions, offer solutions, and push for the needs of all of our students to be met over politics or political ease. Our kids deserve leaders that will put them first always. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Anna Vasudeo. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Your time starts now.
Great, well, thank you for this question. I mean, I can tackle it in 2 ways. One, I can tell you everything that I've accomplished on the board, right? So for 4 years, expanding mental health services, helping our Office of Civil Rights double its staff, making sure we have completely responsive staff. There's a lot of things that I can talk to you about in the last 4 years. But what makes me uniquely qualified, back to your question, is that I have been a homeless student. I have been an English language learner. I have been an English school that would never graduate from college. And I surpassed everyone's expectations in my life. And as a superintendent, I think it's so important to represent the voice of the kids who are told constantly that their futures. I'm someone who knows the importance of having supported diverse public schools, and I will continue to fight to make sure that all our students can succeed in our schools. Putting my lived experience and professional experience make me a unique candidate. In terms of my professional experience, I also oversee school transportation issues in San Mateo County. Very proud of my work to implement safe routes to schools programs throughout the Bay Area, and I want to continue to do that in Berkeley. In fact, in my 4 years on the board, we've expanded the amount of safe routes to school programs in a lot of our campuses, including adding additional crossing guards in schools located along my entire network. So I will continue to do that. Thanks.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jen Korn. Are you ready? Your time starts now.
Thank you. Thank you for this question. The thing that really sets me apart in this race is that I'm the only K-12 educator in this race. I've spent the last 30 years of my life working in public schools, about half of that in Berkeley Public Schools. And what that means is that I've spent 30 years implementing decisions made by school boards. So I've implemented well-intentioned decisions that some of which played out exactly as they were meant to, and others that didn't, because the people on the school board didn't actually have a sense of how things work on the ground in schools. So that's what I bring to our decision making, is that lens of knowing exactly what it's going to be like in a school when somebody tries to implement the decisions that we're trying to make. And I think that's incredibly important, and I think it will help us to make really good decisions.
Thank you.
That's my time up.
The next speaker is Norma Harrison. Are you ready? Your time starts now.
What I tell you is we need to end age segregation. There's no reason for it. It's a custom. Everybody does it that way. The development of humans on Earth has brought with it the penultimate horror, the profit system. This has broken the evolutionary Earth that we people had pretty much felt accustomed to until it became what it is now. Thought to be available to fracking, for example. Though warned against it for decades, all destructive behaviors have been advanced. Nevertheless, it is the central problem of our lives, never to be subverted to all the other concerns it has promoted. So I go on to talk of, what does it say? Thank you. You can tell it to me that it's called. I can't understand the microphone. I'm 89. I know it's a terrible thing they say all. Good for you. Okay, and I hope
We have 15 seconds.
I hope that it was of value. And you'll see I'm not proceeding according to the order the way things are supposed to go.
The speaker's time has elapsed. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. As of 2023, BUSD has the second worst achievement gap in the nation. White students perform almost 3 grades above the national average, while Black and Latinx students perform around 2 and 1 grades under the national average, respectively. So our question for the candidates today is, what are your policy proposals to help close the student achievement gap within BUSD? I can repeat the question if needed. We will be going in the order of Norma Harrison, Abdur Sikder, Jen Korn, Anna Vasudeo, and Laura Babitt. So start off with Norma.
That's me, right?
Yes.
I was totally wrong. I did need that order that the fellow left for me that I said I didn't need. I thought everything would be like it usually is.
No worries. Are you ready?
Yes.
Your time starts now.
So I want to talk about the major formation indoctrinating us to continue the horror of profit. Although many efforts to push back against it have been promoted. The USSR, Cuba, China, which the United States is orally making war on. They just keep saying that China is
You have 1 minute.
an invading enemy, and it isn't. I mean, a nation after the United States needs war in order to have an economy. Nation after nation in Africa struggles against the U.S. system. In South America, the same. Liberatory struggles are countered by the main profiteer, the U.S. hegemon. And
You have
yet-
30 seconds. You can continue if you'd like.
Question. Repeat the question.
Sure.
Okay. Our question is, what are your policy proposals to help close the student achievement gap within BUSD?
Okay, very important question actually. So in order to close the gap, I'm actually hearing this gap question from 2016, that when I ran for election. But we have a lot of board members here and past. I don't know what they have done with that. But I think the important point is to work with the parents. In order to fill this gap, you have to work with the parents, because some parents, they're pretty busy. Of course, they have reasonable reason to be busy, because Bay Area is very expensive and they have to work hard. They hardly have time to spend time with the kids. So we need to work closely with the parents. Teachers and parents should work together to fill this gap. And of course, we should allocate more resources, special teachers, to help them out to catch up. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jen Korn. Are you ready? Your time starts now.
Thank you for this super important question. I think this is the highest priority that we have as a board, is continuing to work on closing the gaps in achievement and accelerating the achievement of our kids of color. There are two main policy proposals that I would that are really important to me in terms of meeting this goal. The first is our literacy instruction in our elementary schools. We all know that building a strong foundation of learning to read is key for unlocking everything that you learn throughout your schooling. So we're getting ready to adopt a brand new literacy program that's based in what's known as the science of reading. It's a really important change for our elementary schools, and I think it has the potential to really accelerate kids' achievement, and it's going to be a huge, huge change for teachers to learn to teach in a whole new way. So we're going to need to really support teachers with professional development and coaching so that they can really implement this brand new literacy curriculum. Similar, and along the same lines, the second thing that I would say is that K-12 across all of our schools, we need to be doing a much better job of providing every teacher with professional development and coaching and observation and feedback so that every kid is getting a high quality, engaging, rigorous experience in your classrooms every day. And that's going to make the biggest difference for closing our gaps.
The speaker's time has elapsed. The next speaker is Anna Vasudeo. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Your time starts now.
Great. Thanks so much for this important question. And I want to echo, yes, what Jen Korn just said about literacy investments, absolutely true. And in addition to that, right, I think it's really important that as a school district, when you have limited funds, you're really funding programs that work and evaluating your programs pretty constantly. So I think that is really important, making sure that there is robust parent engagement. I'm really proud that during my time on the board, we funded programs like Babitt to come and engage with our English language learner families. Parent engagement was so important to me because when I was an English learner, I had to constantly translate for my parents at parent-teacher conferences. And so making sure that we as a district prioritize parent engagement, I think is really important. And I think if you actually, I did a listening session for Spanish-speaking families, and one of the things that came out as like their top request was to make sure that their students had access to high-quality programming, right? And that goes back to the evaluation, that we're funding programs that are working to address the achievement gaps and letting go of those that are not. And I think being strategic about partnerships is really important too. We are right in the same town as UC Berkeley. There are several UC Berkeley programs like the Early Academic Outreach Program, which I did when I went to public middle school in San Francisco, that helped me get ready on a college track, and programs like the Puente Program, which is also a UC Berkeley program that helps to get kids like me, vulnerable students, on a college track. So there's lots that we can do, and I think making the best use of our local partnerships is really important as well.
Thank you. The next speaker is Laura Babitt. Are you ready?
Yes.
The speaker's time starts now.
Thank you so much for this important question, because it's really why I became a parent advocate for equity. When I first learned of the achievement gap in Berkeley, as a mom, I was floored. And I asked the white principal, how could this be? And he said, Laura, this is racism. Because no matter the socioeconomic background of our Black and brown students, we are finding the same results. And that's when I got active, because I said, not on my watch. Not on my watch am I going to see another generation after generation be impacted by racism. And so I've been working to improve our family engagement. I've been working to improve our curriculums in reading and all of these extracurricular programs, which President Vasudeo mentioned. But first and foremost, we have got to get serious about cultural competency. We have got to get serious about every child feeling safe and welcome in our classrooms, belonging in our classrooms. And really, when we talk about teachers of color, it's not just how we treat our students, it's also how we treat our teachers of color. We can recruit them, but how can we maintain them if we don't address the implicit bias and the overall systemic racism which thrives in BUSD? That's why I need your vote.
Thank you. Okay, so for the next question, last year, BUSD faced a $7 million budget cut. This year, the district is expected to lose $5 million more. So our question is, what is your concrete approach to addressing this deficit while maintaining the 4 E's of excellence, equity, engagement, and enrichment? I can repeat the question if needed. And the order of the candidates answering the question will be Anna Vasudeo, Jen Korn, Abdur Sikder, Norma Harrison, and then Laura Babitt.
Thanks so much, Wenta. So I think one of the things that's really important is to make sure that we finish our strategic plan. That's something that I've talked about since I was first elected on the board. It's really important that we articulate with the public. I love that you articulated our priority areas, but what does that mean programmatically for the district, right? And I think when we complete that strategic plan, it'll help guide our decision-making process around budgeting. I think making sure that we're preserving, the services for our students the most, right? So cutting things like maybe we have to freeze positions or things that are the furthest away from the classroom, I think is really important. And also working collaboratively with our committees, right? The board doesn't make decisions alone in a vacuum. It's really important that as a board member, your job is to be really collaborative and responsive to the input that you're getting from community. So committees like our SBAC committee, our Superintendent's Budget Advisory Committee, play a critical role in us hearing the voices of our different committees on what their priorities are. So I think articulating those priorities and being really transparent about what we're gonna fund, especially when you have budget cuts, is really important. And making sure that we are doing it in a transparent way where the community is a part of that process through committees like SBAC.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jen Korn. Are you ready? Your time starts now.
Thank you.
I want to echo a lot of what President Vasudeo said about the process when we have to make these hard budget decisions. As someone who was not on the board this year, I found myself often trying to understand. I knew that there were cuts that were being made, but it was often really challenging as a parent to find out what was being cut and how those decisions were being made. And I understand that the Superintendent's Budget Advisory Committee was operating, but I didn't always know how to watch those meetings. And so I found myself, as I've been campaigning, in conversations with lots of parents who have those same questions about how are these decisions made? And it's made me realize that when we're making budget decisions, we're making decisions about priorities and about what we value, and we actually need to start 10 steps before that, having conversations as a community where we're coming to agreement about our priorities and our values, so that when it comes time to make the decisions about the budget, we already have a set of shared agreements about our priorities and our values. So then our budget decisions flow really obviously from those priorities and values. So when I think about, as a principal, I had to make budgets too, and I was a principal during a time of budget cuts. And it's really about listening to all stakeholders, engaging everyone in the process, making sure that everyone's voices are heard, and communicating really clearly about the trade-offs and the decisions that have to be made. Thank you.
The next speaker is Abdur Sikder. Are you ready?
Yes, thank you so much for this important question. First of all, why we have budget cut? We need to organize ourselves, students, parents, and everyone, all citizens of this country or states or city, to pressure politicians that we need more money for education. How many people did that? Your elected official, they're quiet, and they're endorsing candidate. If I endorse by the electorship, like Governor Newsom, how can I argue and ask for more budget from him? Because he bought me, because he endorsed me. So think about that. Endorsement is what? Think about that. Why people endorse candidate? And also, the Teachers Association endorse candidate too. Why they do that? They need to actually have bargaining agreement with the board. Is that a conflict of interest? Think about that. Think about that. So that's very important that we have to push pressure on politicians to get sufficient money for our schools. We deserve this. They deserve it. We work hard to pay taxes. So our children deserve much better treatment, much better environment and resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Norma Harrison. Your time starts now.
The good thing to talk about education. I wanted to tell you about this person. I just found out a few weeks ago. Somebody recited that he had gone with his uncle, he was about 10 or something like that, gone with his uncle to take care of a sick horse. And the uncle cut the horse open and fixed the problem and so did that. And the child became a surgeon. Education. What's called education has been embodied into schools, out of our social experiences. It is now a commodity. It's called learning. We're made to accept that learning, education, teaching, pretty much goes, I can't hear you, pretty much goes on in some classroom formation. But from about the 7th month in the womb, the fetus is learning. Learning, education, teaching is constant for all of us, all our lives. The idea of making it something saleable is abominable. Making us...
The speaker's time has elapsed. Thank you. The next candidate is Babitt. Are you ready?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Oh, do you want to do it?
Okay. The question was, what is your concrete approach to addressing this deficit while maintaining the 4 E's of excellence, equity, engagement, and enrichment? And this is about the $7 million budget cut.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. So first, as a board, we established pillars, as she said, around equity, engagement, excellence, and enrichment, mainly so that when we make our budget cuts, we make them based on outcomes, right? What is going to drive the outcomes that our students need to be successful in life? And so before joining the board, I spent over 10 years as a dedicated parent advocate following the money, from our BSEP parcel tax to being the chair of our parent advisory committee, to being on our superintendent's budget advisory committee. And so all of that deep understanding when I became a board member let me know that, yes, we do need to advocate more at the state level for funding. And I've done that in partnerships with the California School Board Association. And that's why we saw a surge of learning loss funds and COVID release funds. But now we're moving into a budget deficit period. And that's when my expertise in managing million and billion dollar budgets through recessions is going to come in handy, because I know how to find the fluff, cut the red tape, create efficiencies, and make sure that at the end of the day, we put our money where our mouth is and make sure our students succeed. Check.
Thank you. So for the following question, each candidate will have, for the following questions, plural, each candidate will have 1 minute to respond. So recently, there was a $13 million settlement against BUSD regarding the chemistry teacher, Matt Bissell. There were 9 survivors named in the lawsuit. Although Matt Bissell has been fired, sexual harm and harassment remain all too common issues within the district, including with men's sports teams. Our question for you guys is, what concrete plans do you have to address sexual harm in BUSD? I can repeat the question if needed, and we will be going in the order of Abdur, Sikder, Norma Harrison, Laura Babitt, Jen Korn, and Anna Vasudeo.
Question again, please.
The question is, what concrete plans do you have to address sexual harm in BUSD?
First of all, we need to make sure that this kind of incident never happened in our campus. How to do that? We need to set up a strong monitoring system and reporting system that if any incident happens, immediately report it. So before it escalates and go to the lawsuit, we can resolve this within ourselves. So that's a very important aspect of this. And of course, we need to actually teach our kids about ethics, what is right, what is not right, to love each other and help each other grow up together, learn together. So that's very important ethics. We need to teach them from kindergarten. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Norma Harrison. Your time starts now.
I said that everybody begins learning even in the womb. The learning, the teaching, what's called education, these are all natural for people. As for lions, forests and trees and plants teach each other. Skeins of mushrooms teach each other. All life teaches all life all the time. Nevertheless, the highly controlling profit system has established the indoctrination school, attempting to take desirable human behavior out of our hands so that we can be made into the tool of their profiteering, into their slave, actually. 500 years ago, white people the immigrants chased the native people off the land.
The speaker's time has elapsed. Thank you. The next speaker is Laura Babitt. Are you ready?
Yes.
Your time starts now.
Well, first, I want to say thank you to the moms that are in the room. You know who you are, who have been working on this for years and years and years. Because as a parent, to send your child to Berkeley High and to have them be harassed by students or adults, it's heart-wrenching. And when my daughter was at Berkeley High, I had to go through the process to get a restraining order on students who the school district already knew was a known person that was harassing other women before. And so we've done a lot to try and change the culture of acceptance around this behavior, from coaching boys to men, which we need to continue to do, from expanding our Title IX office with more investigators, to our Green Dot program, to the French fries curriculum, which many of you may have taken, to co-authoring our boundaries policy so that we have a set guidelines and instructions for our adults to make sure they're not building those trusting relationships with kids that makes it possible.
The next speaker is Jen Korn. Your time starts now.
Thank you. I want to build on a lot of what Director Babitt just said, and I want to thank the moms who've been advocating really hard around these issues, and also the many students who have advocated tirelessly to try to improve the culture around sexual harm at Berkeley High. My daughter was a student activist when she was here, and she worked really closely with Yasmina in the Title IX office, and I watched her and her friends work hours and hours and hours after school to try to improve both the systems at Berkeley High to make sure that reporting and investigation and response to complaints of sexual harm was taken seriously, but also the work that they did as students and that I imagine many of you are doing as students to try to change the culture, that peer-to-peer work where you're really influencing each other to change Berkeley High so it's not a culture of sexual harm anymore, but it's instead a culture of belonging.
The speaker's time has elapsed.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Anna Vasudeo.
Thank
Your
you.
time starts now.
Can you repeat the question before you?
The question is, do you want to repeat it, Winto?
The question is, what concrete plans do you have to address sexual harm in BUSD?
Thank you. So, I think that there's a lot that the board has done in the last 4 years, and I will continue to do when I get reelected. And so first, when I joined the board in 2020, we only had 2 staff members as part of our Office of Civil Rights. Now we have 5. And so I think that's a huge difference. And voting to fund that expansion and voting to better support and staff that office is something that I have done and will continue to do. I think it's also really important that we keep positions like the prevention coordinator position, Jasdeep's position, and expand it not only to our high school, but also to our middle school and elementary school. I also want to make sure that we are up to date on all our sexual harassment policies. So I'm really proud of the work that Director Chang and I are doing on the policy committee, and Ms. Yasmina, who's in the audience too. So continuing to do that work. And although we can't chat about existing litigation, I will say that I am proud to have been part of the board that took action on the case that you referenced. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so for our next question, throughout the past year, the school board has heard a lot on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Our question is, do you think it's appropriate for the school board members to take a public position on the Israel-Palestine conflict, and why? The order of the candidates speaking will be Jen Korn, Abdur Sikder, Anna Vasudeo, Laura Babitt, and then Norma Harrison.
Your time starts now.
Thank you for this question. This is indeed a really difficult question. Yesterday was October 7th. Today is October 8th. There have been protests and vigils throughout the Bay Area. Students today at Berkeley High were engaged in a walkout. These are really complicated, emotional debates. And I think as school board members and as educators, it's our job to hold our community together so that people can disagree respectfully, so that people can make arguments and base their arguments in evidence and listen to other people's arguments, And so that we as a community can grapple with these hard questions and we can keep each other safe and yet still be able to really engage in dialogue about things about which we will not all agree. I think that as board members, we all have our
The speaker's time has elapsed. Thank you. The next speaker is Abdur Sikder. Your time starts now.
Thank you. It's a very critical and timely question. It is not a difficult question, actually. It's open question. So you know that what happened on October 7 in there. So Hamas did a very dreadful and very hatred job. So we should be, agree that like they did a bad thing that inhuman. So we condemn them for that, first. Second, what the Israel is doing right now and US is backing is ridiculously heinous. So people don't deserve to die for no reason because a group of people was criminal, like the Hamas. For that, whole country, Lebanon and Iran, a lot of people, innocent people dying. That's not a difficult question. It's a straightforward question, and we should
The
not
speaker's
support
time
that.
has elapsed. Thank you. The next speaker is Anna Vasudeo. Your time starts now.
Thank you for this question. It is complicated, but I also think it's important that we allow our students to speak out against human rights violations. I also think that it's important that we allow our students and educators to lean into controversial topics because that is what makes us Berkeley, and not shy away from them. I also think it's important to do it in a way that's respectful and that there's no room for neither anti-Semitism or Islamophobia in our schools, that we can lean into controversial issues but respect our differences of opinion. So thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Laura Babitt. Your time starts now.
Thank you. I think that our job as leaders is to lead with empathy and to hold our students and families that are hurting, to wrap our arms around them and really understand that this is a triggering situation, and not just for one generation, but intergenerational trauma that is being triggered for many families. And so as we talk about being united against hate, we also need to talk about what does love look like? And what does showing love and true empathy for one another look like? How do we hold each other? How do we lift each other? And how do we keep our community being a beacon of light and not known for anti-Semitism or Islamophobia? That's not who we are. And when we say Berkeley together, I'm anxious to start changing the scope so that we will continue to be Berkeley together. Thank you.
The next speaker is Norma Harrison. Are you ready? Your time starts now.
Hamas is fighting for our liberation throughout the world.
Have you read a newspaper?
Back to the paper I'm reading from. As Marx discussed, and the result of that analysis is we've got to make Israel Palestine again. Let the people work it out together. They were never asked if they should be a nation. As Marx discovered for us, all profit is made from our labor. We work at one job or another, any job, and the benefit accrues ultimately to the teeny tiny few, regardless of this and that regulation, rule, law, touted as one to control that. I don't have to detail.
The speaker's time has elapsed. Thank you.
For our next question, BUSD is a large school district with over 9,000 students in a suburban environment. Our question is, how will you guarantee student safety on and around school campuses? The candidate order will start with Anna Vasudeo, Laura Babitt, Abdur Sikder, Norma Harrison, and then Jen Korn.
Your time starts now.
Well, thanks so much. I'm really proud to have drafted our district's safety resolution, which I drafted in partnership with the California Latino School Board Association after the senseless killings in Uvalde, Texas. So I think making sure that we fund a district-wide position that's looking at facilities, safety investments district-wide is really important, and prioritizing those as part of the budget process. I also think it's really important that we meet frequently with our district-wide safety committee, which I helped start. So I'm excited that the meetings are going to start in October, and work collaboratively with our parent advocacy group, Making Our Schools Safe, to make sure that we're aligned on what are our safety priorities for all of our campuses, and that as part of the budgeting process that we're working really closely with our facilities department to understand why some schools get safety improvements ahead of others. And a lot of that has to do with where they are on the modernization process. Thanks.
Thank you. The next speaker is Laura Babitt. Your time starts now.
Well, thank you so much for this question, because I've been working with Mothers Against Gun Violence to really learn about safety and how do we improve our systems. I was proud to support the safety resolution and our district-wide safety coordinator, but really we have to really embrace our different safety committees at each school site to really look at what is happening in practice, not just on paper, and how do we make those improvements? Everything from getting buzzers and cameras so everybody's not just free flow walking onto our campus to really making sure that you don't just leave a door propped open. And what are the consequences of that? So that kind of education piece that has to happen. And looking at safety as mental health safety, social emotional health safety, not just the physical aspect of safety, and making sure that we have those wraparound services in place for all of our students' needs, because they all need to feel safe to learn and thrive. Thank you.
The next speaker is Abdur Sikder. Are you ready? Your time starts now.
Thank you. So in terms of safety, I give you one example. My wife actually works here, very close from here, less than a mile. And as she parked car on the street, very close to the police station. And 2 weeks ago, her Prius catalytic converter was stolen daytime while she was in the office. How safe is that? I know it's not the responsibility of the school board, but school board should work with the police to fix these issues. So the Berkeley is where the most educated people live. Researchers, scientists, professors, and our students. And why? They don't have time to think about safety. They're focusing on their work. So we need to make sure that the city and the city police and city elected officials.
The speaker's time has elapsed. Thank you.
We are safe. Thank you.
The next speaker is Norma Harrison. Your time starts now.
There must stop being levels of work. All work equals all work. There must stop being levels of income. Same thing. If people are getting... Stop the status of work. Alongside that, stop the status of income. Alongside that, contrive not to dole out wages at any level. We're tired of being wage slaves. End the gambling mechanism, investing. Just communally decide to do things or not to do the things, depending.
15 seconds.
Lithium, another horror, worse than gold, worse than blood diamonds. Given AI and its demands on energy supply and its threat of erosion.
The speaker's time has elapsed. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Our next candidate is Jen Korn. Your time starts now.
Thank you.
This is another super important question. As educators, our two most central obligations are to keep kids safe and to make sure that you're learning. So when we talk about keeping kids safe, I want to echo a lot of the things that have already been said. We need to be looking at the physical safety of our campuses, gates, and buzzers. We also need to make sure that everyone on campus, staff, families, students, are trained about how to keep each other safe. So what Director Babitt mentioned about propped doors, I was just at a school campus the other day where I walked in the gate and there was a buzzer right here with a camera and the gate propped right open. So that buzzer and camera wasn't serving really to keep anyone safe because the gate was propped right open. We also, psychological safety is incredibly important. So mental health, anti-bullying initiatives, cultural
speaker's
competence.
time has elapsed. Thank you.
I had so much more to say. I'll add it in my closing.
For our final question, BHS has many bathrooms for male and female identifying students. Through all of the gender-neutral bathrooms are often locked or in poor condition. Our question is, do you all have a plan or will you develop an actionable plan to address the lack of bathroom access for trans and gender non-conforming students at Berkeley High and in BUSD? The order of the questions will be Norma Harrison, Anna Vasudeo, Jen Korn, Laura Babitt, and then Abdur Sikder.
The first candidate is Norma Harrison. Are you ready?
You're first. Oh.
No.
I'm thinking about this. Sorry. Yeah. I would like people to be
The speaker's time starts now.
I would like people to be able to select for themselves whether or not they should play on a girls' sports team or a boys' sports team, regardless of a trans operation or chemicals or whatever that they have gone through in order to become who they really are. And the same thing about the toilet use. I would like them to judge for themselves and not have this whole stigma arrangement following them behind. There seems to be, with that kind of thinking about it, a reasonable opportunity for people to manifest as they are.
15 seconds.
We are all geniuses. That too has been commodified, taken from us, sculpted by the mind control.
The speaker's time has elapsed. Thank you. The next speaker is Anna Vasudeo. Your time starts now.
Thanks so much. Yeah, one of the most heartbreaking things that I've come across as a board member is hearing time and time again from trans students about how they don't feel safe changing to go to their gym classes, how they don't feel safe going to the bathroom, or how far the bathrooms are and how much they have to wait, decide, like, do I go to the bathroom or do I finish my test? And that to me is unacceptable. So although I've been pleased to see small wins and small progresses at different campuses, it's been happening piecemeal. So what I would like to do is make sure that, for me, this is a safety issue, that this issue comes back to the safety committee and that we're working closely with our GSHAC too to make sure that we have a district-wide process to ensure that all of our sites have adequate access. It's not just about the accessibility of the bathrooms, but making sure that they are really reserved for trans students, because sometimes we do have a trans bathroom and it's misused and not used by our trans students. So bringing those two committees together.
The speaker's time has
great.
elapsed.
Thanks.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jen Korn. Your time starts now.
I want to echo a lot of what President Vasudeo said about the importance of accessibility for bathrooms for our transgender students to feel safe at school. And I also want to broaden it. As I've been talking to students, as I've been running this campaign, bathrooms are something I hear about constantly from all Berkeley High students. It's about accessibility of bathrooms. It's about feeling safe in bathrooms. It's about whether bathrooms are clean, whether bathrooms are stocked with soap and tampons and toilet paper. So I actually would like to start to address this question with a student-led audit of what's going on with the bathrooms at Berkeley High. What's working and what's not working, who has access, who feels safe, who doesn't have access, who doesn't feel safe. And then I'd like to work with students to help develop workable solutions that can help make sure that everyone has access to the basic human right of being able to go to the bathroom where and when you need to at
The
school.
speaker's time has elapsed. The next speaker is Laura Babitt. Your time starts now.
Well, thank you for this question, because I was actually a parent at Rosa Parks, which was the first school that ever made transgender bathrooms. And now all of the bathrooms at Rosa Parks are all transgender bathrooms for all kids. And so being a parent, we tackled that conversation first and foremost, and we took control of our schools and made sure that our children had what they need at Rosa Parks. And to do that at the high school, this is when money matters and when how you look at money matters. Because when BUSD was going to spend $27 million on a parking lot, I turned that initiative from $27 million on a parking lot to building new classrooms, more transgender bathrooms, more CTE programmings, and that's what Kids First always means. That's what it means by outcome-oriented budgeting. You hear the problems, you make the money match the problems, and you create more gender-neutral bathrooms. Thank you. Check.
The next speaker is Abdur Sikder. Your time starts now.
I want to share with you a story of my own life. I have a 7th grader son, and most of the time when we go to school in the morning, he wants to go to the bathroom first. I said, why do you do that? He said, hold on, man, go to school and do that there. I said, no, I don't want to use that bathroom. Why? It's not clean. So that's the feedback I get from 7th grader. So cleanliness is very important in bathroom, honestly. So in schools, we need, it doesn't cost you a lot. It doesn't cost you millions to keep the bathroom clean and safe. And of course, as Norma mentioned that students should have choice which bathroom they want to use. Thank you.
Thank you to all the candidates for answering questions. Finally, the candidates will now share their closing statements. We will go in the order of Laura Babitt, Jen Korn, Norma Harrison, Abdur Sikder, and Anna Vasudeo.
The first speaker is Laura Babitt. Your time starts now.
Well, thank you to the students for this wonderful forum. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share on why you should vote for us. 4 years ago, Berkeley voters elected me to the school board on a platform of putting kids' needs first, driving equity, and budget accountability. I'm proud of what we've achieved together thus far, and there's more to do. I'm seeking re-election because it takes collaborative, equity-driven leadership to address BUSD's challenges. I've consistently challenged the status quo and pushed for the needs of our students to be met over political ease. Before and during my tenure on the board, my extensive involvement gave me a deep understanding of our school district's strengths and weaknesses. I am empowered to drive progress, which I've done in less than 4 years, even with the significant challenges of COVID-19. With the focus on equity, we've closed our opportunity gap for K-2 students by 19.5%, improved college eligibility rates with Black and brown students leading this charge, managed by 45%, managed $3 to $7 million in budget cuts while maintaining smaller class sizes and wraparound services. And as the only board member with progressive finance and accounting experience, I thank you for supporting my track record. I thank you for making sure that your choice is clear to vote for someone who has a history of getting things done. Thank you so much.
The next speaker is Jen Korn. Your time starts now.
Thank you so much to all of you for being here this evening. I am deeply grateful for your engagement in our democracy and in the work of improving schools for all kids in BUSD. I am really proud of my work in BUSD schools as a teacher and as a principal, and I'm really eager to bring my perspective and my experience to the school board. I'm a consensus builder. If you talk to the families and the students who I worked with in all the schools I worked at in BUSD, I think they would tell you that I was a good listener, and that when I had to make a decision that they didn't like, I communicated that respectfully, and I made everyone feel listened to and included, and I led a community characterized by a sense of inclusion and belonging. And I'd like to bring that same ethic to our whole district in my role as a school board member. I want to end by saying to all the students that are here tonight, I hope you're all registered to vote. Is everyone registered? Raise your hand if you're not yet registered. Okay, so now you have to leave here and you have to go get 3 of your friends who are not yet registered to vote to register, because if I'm right, John V. put out in his bulletin that only something like 380 students are pre-registered. There are so many more of you. So can I get each of you to commit to leaving here and finding 3 friends who are not yet registered to vote and helping them with that process? Will you commit to that? Please? Because this is so important, you guys. This is groundbreaking that 16 and 17-year-olds have the right to vote. And I desperately want every 16 and 17-year-old in Berkeley to take advantage of that right. So will you help me make that happen, please? Excellent.
The speaker's time has elapsed. The next speaker is Norma Harrison. Your time starts now.
When I came out here, it was because the mine troop had come to where I was living in Roanoke, Virginia. They came out to Hollins College, which is in Salem. And the politics was so fantastic. And I was on the edge of what else to do. I had been part of the women's movement there, and the women's movement was overpowering. I'd love to go over with everybody about how that affected me. I was 37, my daughter was 2, and I came out here for community. So she ended up not going to classes. She sat out classes in high school. She went to the library or visited, whatever she did. She got a degree in accounting at Hofstra after a while. So I'm opposed to higher education. How do they take education and make it higher or lower? The effrontery is impossible. On the few occasions that have survived the imperialist order, the capitalist onslaught, the people have only fared better in their lives. They have not been able to fare well materially because the imperialist system has forbidden them from interacting in a productive, helpful manner, which is, you know, what Cuba wants to do for all its people, take care of all the people, take care of all the people, the same thing about Soviet Union, the same thing about China, which is being told to you as being a murderous place that has never attacked any place except to help out Vietnam.
The next speaker is Abdur Sikder. Your time starts now.
Thank you so much being here, and I really appreciate your presence here. It's very important that you spend your valuable time here after work. I really, really appreciate that. And now I urge you, especially for the new voters, 16 and 17 years old, please learn about the candidate. I know that the school board candidate is down the ballot. Sometimes people hardly have time. It's just tick, 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 tick. So please spend some time, because you will get the ballot at home. So you have time to read a little bit, learn about the candidate. And I think what will make a difference that if you dedicate some time understanding and thinking, like who is in the board and who will be the best fit for the next board 4 years, and if you want to see changes, you need to change the phase too. You can research on that, because 4 years a reasonable time to achieve something. If people spend their time effectively, then they have done their job. And in public elected position should not be more than 4 years. That's my opinion, but think about that. Think about that. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time again, and hopefully you will vote for me. Thank you. God bless you.
The final speaker for tonight is Anna Vasudeo. Your time starts now.
Thank you. I'm proud of the work I've done these last 4 years and the work that I continue to lead as school board president. And I believe that there's more work to be done to close the opportunity gap for Black, Brown, and students with disabilities. During my second term on the board, my goal is to continue to work collaboratively with our students, families, staff, and educators to prioritize investments for programs that we know are working for our students. I'd like to focus on completing our strategic plan and ensuring that we're transparent about how we evaluate the effectiveness of our programs. A vote for me is a sure vote. I've already delivered for our students and will keep doing so. During my tenure on the board, we've doubled our staffing for the district's Civil Rights and Compliance Office. I've worked collaboratively with our city partners to implement safe routes to school improvements at our campuses to make sure that our students can get to school safely and sustainably. I partnered with special education advocates to create our new Disability, Equity, and Special Education Advisory Committee, and I have funded the expansion of mental health and counseling services in our schools. I'm proud to be supported by the Alameda County Democratic Party, the Berkeley Federation of Teachers, the Berkeley Council of Classified Employees, and State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurman, and many others, and I hope to earn your support as well. You can visit my website, vasudeoforberkeley.com, to learn more. Thanks.
Thank you. Could we give one last round of applause for tonight's candidates?
We did go a little bit over, so I'm going to keep it quick. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for supporting us and making this forum happen tonight. I also want to thank our administration and Mr. V and our tech crew for facilitating this event. Let's also give a round of applause to our wonderful moderators, Zamara Winter-Clark and Jules Drawers. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Wait. Remember to register before October 21st and vote.
You guys?